I'm Gianna Jacobson, the editor of December. Welcome to Young Chicago Authors in the celebration of December's 36th issue and the 12th since the magazine was revived in 2013. 5 years ago, almost to the day, we had a launch party in Chicago for what was our second issue since the revival. And we were really, really new. And we were figuring out how to do things, and we were so caught up in the wonder and magic of discovering fresh and exciting talent. And a lot has changed since then. We've read tens of thousands of submissions. We've published the work of more than 400 stellar writers and artists. We've hosted 22 reading events in 12 cities. And we have a staff of more than 20 editors, all of whom, or most of whom, have day jobs doing other things, but who still devote an incredible amount of time ensuring that December's content is what it is. And yet some things haven't changed at all. As many of you know, December was based in Chicago for 46 years, from 1962 until 2008. So being here is really a coming home for us. What December is today still has so much to do with what December had been then, which was, and I hope still is, a community unto itself. What made December a pioneer and an icon from its inception in 1958 through the 60s and 70s and into the 80s was its commitment to excellence, its ability to not just spot nascent talent, but to really nurture it, and its willingness to provide a forum for veteran writers and artists experimenting with new ideas. And yet, we're still kind of figuring out how to do things, and we're still caught up in the wonder and magic of discovering fresh and exciting talent, which is why we're here today. I don't want to spend too much time talking, because we do have a very impressive group of readers, and I want to give them all their due. But I want to acknowledge a couple of key individuals that have been really important to December's revival. First and foremost, I want to recognize Lauren Letterman, who took a real leap of faith in me when she joined December before the revival issue even came out as a volunteer in the summer of 2013. Then she became our first managing editor and our first actual employee. And since, I think, 2014, has been our contest editor. Like a miner panning for gold as she sifts through literally thousands of poems, stories, and essays to find the bright, shiny winners. Chicago is Lauren's hometown, and I think some of her friends and I know her family are here today. If you haven't met Lauren yet, you should stop and introduce yourselves. And I also want to recognize the heroic efforts of our business manager, Judy Kramer, the one down here with the video camera, for all she does. You really could not possibly imagine a job description with more randomness and variety, but Judy's always up to the task. And I want to really thank Young Chicago authors, especially Alyssa Goldwasser and Nicole Humphrey, for working with us and making this spectacular space available for us today. It is really fitting that we're at Young Chicago Authors for this particular reading, because we are presenting young authors, two of whom live in Chicago, and one who used to and maybe will again someday. All three of them represent our mission and our goal with December, to nurture emerging voices and provide a forum for work that needs to be heard, work that deserves to be heard, and work that really demands to be heard. Both at YCA and within the pages of every December, we spend a lot of time in the company of words. Words matter. We hear that every day. But we use them so often, so casually and indiscriminately, that we often lose sight of their power. Words can inspire or they can destroy. They have an energy force of their own. Words have the capacity to inflict damage and to fix that damage, equal measures of power to harm and power to heal. Words can change minds and they can change the world. We're grateful for many of the opportunities that great literature affords to us, but especially for the words that these three young writers bring to us today. We read submissions blindly at December. So when we read and fell in love with Sophie Stein's story, Something Else, it seemed safe to assume that the author was a seasoned writer with a long list of publication credits. At the time, though, Sophie was a senior at Northwestern and had never been published in a national magazine. And in fact, she'd been planning a career as a violinist until not long before then. It's still hard to imagine because Something Else is a rare breed in the world of short stories. It's actually epic in scope. It leads us carefully through 4 seasons, giving insight into the worlds of rural grape farmers, drug addicts, and Seventh-day Adventists, all through the eyes of its 17-year-old protagonist, Ellie. It is a sure-footed story, meaning its pacing was perfect. The balance of backstory and present action are perfect. The development of the characters was perfect. If Something Else is Sophie Stein's first nationally published story, we can't wait to watch her career unfold. She has since graduated from Northwestern, gone to Ireland to get a master's degree in creative writing, been published in other magazines, and taken second place in Hypertext Magazine's fiction contest. So here to read us an excerpt from Something Else, I'm delighted to introduce Chicago's own Sophie Stein.